be sad to see this show go if this is where they end it, but at the same time, I'll always cherish it and really just find it to be a show that I'll always revisit.
2 hours later.
Shrinking is a show that I've just recently binged. I knew the third season was coming out. I had heard so many people talk about how good of a show it was, and so I was like, I need to watch it leading to the third season. I did exactly that and had a blast binging it. It has quickly become one of my favorite shows. Very similar to Ted Lasso. Obviously, you have overlapping creatives there. I just find it to be a comforting show, a show that I can find such enjoyment in seeing these characters go throughout their lives. It's also dealing with very heavy themes, and it does it with just grace, and it doesn't feel like it's bashing you over the head with its themes. And when it comes to the third season, while I don't feel like it necessarily goes out with a bang, I do feel like this is the right place to end it. It feels like a fitting conclusion, and I think that this show is just delightful. One of the things that is extremely hard in TV is to be consistently funny. Not every show can be that, and especially with Ted Lasso, where I felt that the show, as it got on, got significantly less and less like entertaining and really just overwhelmingly great. One of the biggest things I can say about Shrinking is that this show has always been consistently funny for me. I have always found it to be laugh out loud funny, and I just found myself, again, falling in love with the characters. The entire cast is tremendously talented and perfect. They are all individually just perfectly casted. At the end of last season, we saw Brett Goldstein's character really going through a hard time, and we knew that they were going to carry over to season 3, and Jason Segel's character was going to potentially start to grow a relationship with him. And without getting into spoilers, like, you do see that relationship grow. Brett's character's arc in particular to be quite beautiful. It doesn't actually go throughout the entire season. It stops at a certain point, but the arc itself is a reminder of how the show feels like it can do really hard things in terms of tackling difficult themes of acceptance, like accepting the fact of you doing something so like unimaginably terrible and still find a way to live your life with this weight on your shoulder. Like, it never really goes anywhere, but you get a little bit better as time goes on at dealing with it and processing the fact of what you did. And I think this show tackles that perfectly. While you may not be able to see yourself in this character's life, like being okay with being friends with him, this show is simply giving you an example of how a life can continue to play out with that being on your shoulder and still finding ways to see joy in life. Again, even as heavy as things can be in this show, there's a terrific grasp of managing tone that is definitely not an easy thing. It's simultaneously emotional while being so easy and enjoyable to watch. I never found myself being like, I need to take a break after one episode. I'm like, I want to keep watching. I found myself getting very emotional at the end of last season with the Thanksgiving episode, but there's one moment in particular here that actually isn't even like this big moment where they might be clearly trying to get you to get emotional. It's one moment with Harrison Ford's character, and it involves a baby. And it is that moment in particular where I found myself really getting emotional. And it's always funny to me how the show can just sneak up on you and actually come to be a show that I found myself getting so invested in. In this season, we have a new layer of exploration with parenting, the weight of feeling like you're doing a good job. You have a new baby put into the mix here. Brian and Charlie have a child, and so you see that, but you also see that weight in a different stage in life with Liz and Derek. You have Harrison Ford's Paul coming to terms with retirement and old age and everything that comes with that, all the shit that comes with that. And a quick side note, maybe a bit of recency bias here, but I think this is one of, if not Harrison Ford's like best performances, and it's so funny to see that like such late in his career after an absolutely legendary run and just like all-timer performances, he can deliver quite possibly his most well-rounded and filled with true nuance in a performance like this. I just think it's absolutely spectacular. Then of course you have Jimmy still reeling from the fact of losing a spouse and moving on potentially in the season, what that means for him. Just once again, massive praise for the creatives behind the show, being able to do these things, like tackle these really hard things and make it seem so seamless. They're tackling it with grace. When it comes to things that I wasn't crazy about with the season, I don't know if it's necessarily my favorite season of the show, but it's up there. Obviously there's only 3, so it's kind of like a 3-way tie. But for starters, I feel like Jimmy's character Jason Segel, and Sophie, played by Colby Smulders. Obviously, fans of the How I Met Your Mother like me, it is so great to see them on screen together. And they didn't even get that much time in How I Met Your Mother, like together one-on-one. So seeing that in here is just perfect. The show really wants you to fall for them as a romantic potential couple. And I find that they don't have a lot of romantic chemistry. They have a lot of platonic chemistry. I just don't really believe them as a couple. Another thing, Jeff Bridges' character, who gets introduced in this season. It's great to see another very famous face in the show. His character, though, feels a bit cartoonish and one note, and honestly a bit really frustrating. It feels like for a show that a lot of the time is showing like all these different sides of a situation, the good, the bad. I feel like for Bridges' character, I just feel like the effect of how bad he is, how terrible of a person he is, and how just frustrating he is. Even though I understand kind of what they were going for Jimmy as a character, it just got frustrating as an audience member to see that. And now I was under the impression that there was one more episode left, and so I was watching it and I didn't like go through the mindset that this is the finale. But then after watching it, and I did realize it was the finale, I did feel like, I'm a little bit stuck. Towards the end of the season, I felt like they were stretching it out just a little bit, didn't really figure out where to wrap it up, almost killing time before the finale. And then you get to the finale, and again, I wasn't under the impression that it was a finale. And I'm kind of just like, it just kind of ends. It doesn't really feel like they couldn't really like completely nail a dart on the board and just like, boom, that's exactly where it is, hit the target. It never really feel like they could do that. And that's why I just feel like it didn't really go out with a bang. I don't really know where they're going from here. It's not the most like frustrating thing. I'm like, like that's how they're ending it. But at the same time, I guess maybe just a little bit more closure. But also it did feel like they were kind of just running on low fuel and kind of just really meandering. So it's frustrating to say the least. And a big thing this season, a big addition that I was really looking forward to is Michael J. Fox. This is his first acting role in a handful of years now. He hasn't really been in anything like crazy big in a little bit of time. He is awesome. He gets introduced in the first episode, actually in one of the first few moments of the season, and it's just perfect. He is awesome, so funny. I wish we had like some more time with him this season. We got to see him really grow as a character. He doesn't really have much of an arc at all, but for the time that we got with him. And I was so happy to see him be a part of this show, obviously for a show that is dealing, one of its main themes is with Parkinson's, and then you can have that carry over into someone who actually does deal with it and see how that can translate. And I just thought it was brilliant. All in all, Shrinking has become one of my favorite shows. While the season may not be like a knockout, I do think that it's just so easy to watch, so enjoyable. If you're a fan of the show, I don't think the season's really going to disappoint you. If you haven't seen the show, I would highly recommend it. And it's just so brilliant in its balance of really emotional themes with lighthearted comedy. I'm going to give Shrinking Season 3 an A-, and this is must-watch TV. Be sure to leave your thoughts on the season down below in the comments. If you've seen it, what have you thought of it? I want to thank you so much for watching this video, and if you did enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, look forward to more content coming soon. My name is Ben, people call me Meter, and I'll see you guys in the next one.